Hello, welcome to Vlogmas Day 11. I'm catching up with you today a little later than I normally do. I had work this morning for the first time in 2 weeks, the first time after our lockdown. And I had the early shift, which I quite like because it's over and done with quite early in the day. It's lunchtime now and I'm already home. So that's a nice way to ease back into work. I'm having a little bit of a breather before I get into the bones of my day. I am going to work for a little while on my sock. I did a little bit this morning. I picked up for the heel. Last night I got the 2 toes finished. So the toes are in and I've picked up for the heel. And I'll talk a little bit about the heel later on. I'll come back in and talk to you a bit later about these because I did find out something interesting about this heel a little later. I'm not sure if you can hear it. It feels very loud to me, but next door is getting work done and all I can hear is a saw. Nothing I can do, out of my control, but hopefully it's not too disturbing or distracting. So I'm going to take a few minutes now just to decompress after work and knit on those. But I also want to open my advent calendar and see what today has in store and what I'll be adding to my cardigan later on. So I picked out day 11 and we'll see what we've got. It really is fun, even though I created this myself. I really do enjoy opening and seeing what I've put in each day. I have my usual Bailey's chocolate and this array of colours. And this was given to me as an end of a ball that somebody had used, and it's Vullen Vine from her Art Nouveau Yarn Club from 2014. So this is quite deep stash, and it's called Yellow Dress. So a bit of Vullen Vine to add in, and that again will just change the tone of the colour. I'm working on lemon at the minute, so it'll actually drift into that quite nicely. So that's the advent calendar for today. I'll get back to my knitting a bit later. I'm going to get clothes changed and get out of the uniform now and be able to just relax into home gear again. And today there aren't very many plans. We'll see what it brings us. I have a bit of tidying up to do as usual. It's Friday, I want to get tidied up for the weekend, and then some knitting hopefully. I don't actually have much progress to show you on my knitting since the last time I checked in, because when I sat down to knit I promptly fell asleep and dozed off for an hour. But anyway, I wanted to come back and talk about the heel that I am working. I had told you a few days ago when I had got a certain way down, length down the sock, that I was inserting waste yarn for an afterthought heel, and I can show you in this one, it had gone in here, and that I planned to come back, take the waste yarn out, pick up the stitches, take the waste yarn out. I refer to that as an afterthought heel, but it's not, and I've linked below the tutorial I used for this. But it's not a true afterthought heel. A true afterthought heel is where you knit the entire tube of the sock, and then you go into the level where you want to insert your heel, and you lift the stitches and cut the piece in between. I have never tried that. I don't think I'm brave enough to try that yet anyway. So a true afterthought heel cuts the stitches, and you pick up the stitches around that and do then what I am doing here. So the actual process once the stitches are picked up are the same. But I didn't know if there was a name for this particular method that I use. I call it the pre-planned afterthought heel. But I happened to be looking the other day at, I was Googling something about what length to knit the foot, or how many rows I should do, or I was just Googling, and I happened to find an article by Interweave, and I'll link that article below, that talks about afterthought heels. And apparently the name of the heel that I put in is the peasant heel. The article explains the afterthought heel and the difference with the peasant heel, which is one that is pre-planned. You decide as you're knitting where you want your heel to go, and you insert your waste yarn, and it explains how to do it as well, and explains the type of yarn to put in for the waste yarn. You want something that's slippy, that's not going to be catchy, so that when you're pulling it out, it pulls out easily. But it's a peasant heel, and I discovered that these heels, these afterthought heels, I think both varieties originated in Eastern Europe, which it just was a fascinating article.